Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do a gel test comparison on one of my favorite rifle calibers, the 5.45x39, or what's commonly known as the AK74 round. So the rifle that we're going to shoot is my Arsenal SLR 104 FR. This is an AK74 variant. This is not fully automatic, so it's not a real AK74. But this is easily one of my favorite rifles that I've ever owned. It's just super smooth shooting, really light recoil, and a lot of fun to shoot. Now I have done a couple upgrades to this rifle. I replaced the trigger with the ALG AKT, and for the price, that is one of the best triggers I've ever felt. I also took the top handguard off and put an Ultimac rail with an Aimpoint Micro on it. Now in the future I will do a more in-depth video on this and shoot it a bunch, but that's not what we're going to do today. What we're going to do today is test and compare several different types of ammo that are available for the AK-74s and see how they perform in ballistics gel. Now originally the 5.45 was designed to tumble, and it kind of became known as a really violent round, and that's what made it so effective. It actually earned the nickname of the poison bullet because of what it was doing to people on the battlefield. So up until a couple years ago, there was an ammo available that was called 7.6, and 7.6 was a corrosive surplus ammo that was really cheap, I think as low as like 7 or 8 cents a round at one point, and it performed really well and tumbled really violently. I've actually seen gel tests done on the 7.6, and from the few that I've seen, it seems like it's kind of a hard round to even keep in ballistics gel because it does tumble so violently. So a couple years ago, that ammo was banned, and you can really no longer get it, and when you can find it, it's really not worth the price. So what I want to do today is test a few rounds that are still available. There's still some ammo that's out there for these rifles, and see how they perform in gel. So the ballistics gel that I use, as always, is my 20% Clear Ballistics Gel Blocks. I have a new one in the front and an old one in the back. I don't think anything's going to make it through the second block, but I might put a third block behind that just to be safe, so that we can try and trap all these bullets and see how they perform. So I am going to go ahead and get this ammo out, and I'll show you guys the first round that we're going to test. Alright guys, the first round we're going to shoot is the Wolf Milspec 60 grain full metal jacket. I have one here, and you can see that it is a very long bullet, and I believe that's part of the design in making these rounds tumble like they do. And I think that this one will probably perform the most like a 5.45 round was intended to perform, just because of the way that this bullet looks. So I'm going to go ahead and set y'all up on the tripod, and we will test the 60 grain full metal jacket. Okay, so this is kind of what I was afraid of. You can see the bullet went in right there, had a massive wound channel right there, about 4 or 5 inches into the gel block. I'm not sure if maybe it started tumbling a little bit, and started to kind of curve to the right, left our first gel block, went into our second gel block, and it's hard to see, but it left the gel right there. So this bullet was definitely either tumbling or curving in the gel, but it did not stay in our ballistics gel. And I kind of want to trap these bullets if I can, so I might run this one back one more time and see if we can't get that bullet to stay straight in our gel. Alright guys, this is attempt number 2 with the 60 grain full metal jacket. If it doesn't stay in the gel this time, I'm just going to move on to the next one, but let's try it one more time and see if we can get it in the gel. Alright, so our second 60 grain Wolf went in below our first one. Looks like it dipped down right there. Also had a massive wound channel. Kind of dipped and almost hit the table, it looks like. Went through our first gel block, into our second gel block about 6 or 7 inches, and also left out the side of the gel. So it doesn't look like we're going to be able to trap the 60 grain full metal jacket. You can see right there is where it left the gel. And again, I was kind of expecting that with this one because it is a military spec round, it says. So this one is actually performing really well, and that's what a lot of people like out of the 5.45x39 is that it tumbles so much and it's so erratic that it does a lot of damage. And you can see the wound channels there would appear that it's probably tumbling or definitely deforming and just making those massive wound channels. And again, it's curving and turning and everything else inside that gel block, and we're not able to keep it in the gel. So in my opinion, that's a good thing. It sucks for my video because I won't be able to get that bullet and show you guys what it looks like. But there's really no fragments in the block. There's a couple tiny little pieces, but there's really no big fragments that would imply that it's breaking apart a whole lot. So it looks like the bullet is staying intact, just tumbling and turning and kind of doing what the 5.45 was originally designed to do. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, the next round we're going to test is the Wolf Polyformance 55 grain hollow point, and I have the bullet here. Based off the shape of this bullet and the hollow point that's in it, I don't think it's going to perform like our last one did. These bullets are cheap and affordable, but one disclaimer I have about these is, for some reason, they do not work in my gun very reliably. And what I think it is the shape of the bullet. So you can see there, that's the one that we just shot. I've shot thousands of rounds of these through my rifle and have had no problems, but these hollow points jam quite a bit. And you can see there that the bullet is literally almost half the size of the full metal jacket. So I think that that hollow point is probably getting hung up because it's such a short bullet and it's not feeding correctly into the chamber because of that. When you put these in the magazine, you can even tell that they stick back really far in the mag, and I believe that's probably what's causing the problem. I don't think it's my rifle because this is a really high quality rifle and I've never had problems with any other ammo out of my AK74. So I don't think it's the rifle that's causing those bullets to malfunction. I could be wrong. Let me know if you guys, have good luck with the Wolf 55 grain hollow points, but I don't. So I just wanted to throw that in there for you guys. Again, your experience might be different and maybe these bullets work really well for you guys, but for me they don't. But I'm going to go ahead and step back and we will test the 55 grain hollow point and see how it does. Alright guys, so our 55 grain hollow point went in pretty much right where our full metal jacket bullet went in. But you can see there is a fragment there, a larger fragment there, and the wound channel is not nearly as big as the full metal jackets that we shot. So the bullet continued traveling down and actually stopped right there, and it looks like it's mostly in one piece. That kind of surprised me. For the most part, hollow points, especially when they're traveling that fast, usually break apart into a bunch of different pieces. But this one fragmented a little bit, but for the most part stayed intact pretty well. And our 55 grain hollow point stopped at about 15 inches inside of our first gel block. Alright guys, the third and final round we're going to test today is the 60 grain Hornady V-MAXX. Now this is actually advertised as a varmint round, but I don't know if you can see there, but the muzzle velocity on these is 2,810 feet per second. So anything that's moving that fast is going to be pretty effective on whatever it hits. I have the bullet out here, and you can see it's a really cool looking bullet. And like a lot of Hornady's bullets, it has that red tip on the front there. And I'm kind of excited to see how this one performs. I have seen gel tests done on the Hornady V-MAXX before, and it performs really well. So let's step back and see how it does. Alright guys, our Hornady V-MAXX went in at the top of the gel there. You can see that it did shed the red tip that's on the front of that bullet pretty early, probably 2 inches into the gel. Created a pretty big, pretty nasty wound channel there. There's definitely a lot going on in there. It looks like it may have fragmented a little bit, and quite a bit more bullet fragments there. I'm not sure if that's from that bullet. It looks like it is because they're coming straight out of the wound channel from that bullet. It started to dip down a little bit right here, and our bullet stopped right there in our first gel block. It looks like it expanded quite a bit, and looks like it performed pretty much the way that it's designed. Now this is definitely the least penetration that we got out of all 3 of these, but again, with rifle bullets, a lot of it is more about the impact, the velocity, and the energy that these bullets put out from the higher velocity. And the V-MAXX stopped right at about 1 foot into our first gel block. Alright guys, so here are the bullets that I pulled out of the ballistics gel. Obviously the 60 grain full metal jacket did not stay in the gel block, so I wasn't able to recover that bullet. But the first one here is the 55 grain hollow point that we shot, and you can see there that it did expand a little bit. And what I thought was strange is it looks like the front of that hollow point just completely broke off. I'm not sure if that's how that bullet's designed to work, but it definitely did break off. And then you can see here that the bullet did expand a little bit, not a lot, but did open up a little bit and fragment inside of our gel block as well. Now this bullet here is the 60 grain Hornady V-MAXX that we shot, and it expanded quite a bit more than our 55 grain hollow point. It also fragmented inside the gel block a little bit as well, but the 60 grain Hornady V-MAXX completely expanded and performed really well. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, the AK74 is one of my favorite rifles to shoot. It's just super smooth shooting and really light recoiling, and that combined with the reliability and the durability of the AK rifles kind of makes it the best of both worlds in my opinion. Now out of the rounds that we tested today, I'd probably have to say my favorite is the 60 grain full metal jacket, the first one that we tested, just because it performed the way that the 5.45 is designed to perform. And when you get that tumbling effect, that's kind of what separates the 5.45 from other rifle calibers and makes it such a deadly round. But that being said, anything that's going 3,000 feet per second is going to be effective and is going to suck pretty bad for whatever gets hit by that. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, guys. If you'd like to see anything else with the Arsenal AK74, let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.